I'm not going to lie to you, this process of getting my RSS feed from SoundCloud to iTunes was a difficult process and unnecessarily difficult. So that's why I'm creating this video, is because when I was going through this process, when I created my podcast a few months ago, I needed a video tutorial like this. So first things first, if you don't have a SoundCloud account, let's create one right now together. Just press this create account on soundcloud.com. So put your email in and create a password. Okay, I'm going to choose my display name to be Mara Burks, and I'm female. Here we go. Okay, so you now have a SoundCloud account. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go over to our profile, and this image right here is what's going to show up on iTunes. So let's update this image to where it looks a lot better than that random circle with pretty colors. Okay, so I'm going to just pick this picture because I love food. Now we're going to add our first track to SoundCloud. So just click this upload button right here. Okay, so now it'll take you to this page. Now, we're going to update our image, and this will be the cover image of our podcast episode. So what I typically do is I actually create a square image for each episode that I put out on my podcast, not only for this and for the RSS feed and iTunes and all that jazz, but I also do this for promotional purposes. So for Instagram and, for the show notes. So update image. I'm just going to put my episode 6 up there, and then I'm just going to put this as the title, and my genre, mine is business. Then the description actually shows up on iTunes. So right now this is episode 6, but obviously you would have a better one than that. Now save that. Now I'm going to go to my track because we need to do one more thing before we submit this to iTunes. So I'm going to press more and then edit, and that allows me to go back to that and edit the track that we just uploaded. Now I'm going to go to the permissions tab, and we want to enable downloads. We also want to include this in the RSS feed. Now this is a little annoying, I'm not going to lie, but every time you upload a podcast episode, you do need to make sure to go to this permissions page and enable the downloads and include in the RSS feed. If you don't, this won't make its way on over to iTunes. So this step is very important. Now save those changes. And next, we are going to grab our RSS feed link. So the way we do that is we're going to click these 3 dots and go to our settings, and then go to the content tab. Now this is the RSS feed link, so we're going to copy it there. But before we go over to Podcast Connect, we're going to make sure that our feed title and all of these are filled in correctly. So the custom feed title would be the NB Podcast. NB Biz Podcast. I already have the Market Beautifully podcast connected, so I can't use that. Now my category is business. I'm going to keep language at English, and my author name is Mara Burks. Okay, now I'm going to click Save Changes, and then I'm going to copy this, and we're going to have another tab open at podcastconnect.apple.com. So this is where your podcast will be, and we're going to click this plus button in the upper left hand corner, and we're going to paste the RSS feed that we just copied over on SoundCloud in this blank right here, and then we're going to click the validate button. Okay, so I was actually wondering about this. So then it tells me, okay, my podcast artwork must be between 1400 and 3000 pixels. So I'm going to go back and see what pixels this is, and I think I'm going to have to cut it down. I think it's too large of a file. But that's the only error I got. So once I do this, I'm going to revalidate it. So let me go back to my SoundCloud real quick, go back to my profile, and I'm going to update the image. Okay, so I'm going to update the image to this, and then I'm going to go back to my Podcast Connect and revalidate it. Awesome. Okay, it's prepared for submission. So this is the status, and that means that I can hit this button over here, submit, and it will submit it to iTunes. Now that you've made it this far and you are to this step, know that it's really just a waiting game right now. You're going to have to wait on Apple to approve. And fun fact, Apple actually has real people scanning these podcasts and approving them. So I wouldn't get too impatient with the process. It's definitely a waiting game at this point. So just keep checking your email every day like I did because I was so excited to get my podcast on iTunes. But you've done all the hard work so far. You've grabbed your RSS feed, you've gotten it on over to Podcast Connect. And I know without a doubt, Apple is going to approve your podcast because I'm sure you have such amazing content and a really amazing topic to provide for everyone that's going to be listening to your podcast. Thank you so much for watching this video on MBTV, and I can't wait to hear about how you cracked open a bottle of wine once you got your podcast submitted on iTunes.